A day in the life of a Deathworlder on an alien planet. Imagine a world where survival isn't just hard, it's nearly impossible. Welcome to a Deathworld, a planet where every living creature must fight just to stay alive. The air is thick with toxic gases, the gravity is crushing, and the ground itself seems to want to swallow you whole. This is a place where the environment is more than a challenge, it's an enemy. On Earth, we walk outside without thinking about what might kill us. But here, on a Deathworld, danger is everywhere. Every plant, every animal, every storm, and every shift in the landscape can mean the end of your life. The animals here are bigger, faster, and stronger than anything we've ever seen. The plants? They can kill you in an instant if you make the wrong move. The weather? Unpredictable and deadly. But somehow, life still exists here. Some creatures have learned to survive in this harsh world by adapting in ways we can't even imagine. And then there are the Deathworlders. The Deathworlder is one of the few beings that has not only survived in this hostile environment, but has thrived. Over generations, they've evolved to live in the face of constant danger, developing unique skills and traits that allow them to face the world's worst threats head-on. They are the ultimate survivors. Their bodies are built to handle things that would destroy anyone else. Their senses are sharp, their reflexes fast, and their strength is unimaginable. They've learned how to hunt, how to fight, and most importantly, how to adapt to whatever challenge this planet throws their way. But there's something new, something dangerous, a change in the environment that threatens even the Deathworlders' way of life. A new force, beyond their control, is shaking this planet to its core. What happens next could determine the fate of every living thing on this world, including the Deathworlder. This is a world on the edge, a world where the strong survive, and the weak are quickly forgotten. And today, we're going to see what it's like to live as a Deathworlder. To fight, to adapt, and to survive in a place where nothing comes easy, and every moment is a struggle. Welcome to the Deathworld. The Deathworlder is a creature born of a planet where only the strongest can survive. From the moment they take their first breath, life is a fight. But they don't shy away from it. They embrace it. They are the product of millions of years of evolution, shaped by their environment and designed for survival. Their body is a testament to this harsh existence, built for strength, endurance, and resilience. Physically, the Deathworlder is a sight to behold. Towering over most beings, their muscles are thick and powerful, honed by constant struggle against the world around them. Their skin is tough, like armor, resistant to the lethal plants and the poisonous creatures that roam their world. They've adapted to the intense gravity, their bones denser and stronger than anything we might find on Earth. Even their eyes, set deep within their skull, are adapted for the harsh light of their planet's sun. They can see in a spectrum that humans can't even begin to comprehend, allowing them to spot dangers from miles away. But it's not just their physical traits that make them exceptional, it's their mind. The Deathworlder's intellect is sharp, honed by necessity. In a world where every decision could mean life or death, they've learned to think quickly and act decisively. They can read the smallest changes in the environment, the faintest tremor of the ground, or the subtle shift in wind direction, and know exactly what it means. This awareness, this ability to understand the world on a deeper level, is what makes them more than just a survivor. It makes them a predator. The Deathworlder is also a master of tactics and strategy. They've learned the importance of teamwork, especially in the face of overwhelming odds. Though they are strong, even they know that surviving on their own is impossible. Whether they hunt in groups or rely on the skills of others, they understand that unity is key to survival. They are resourceful, using everything their world offers, plants, animals, and even the very elements themselves, to adapt and outsmart the countless threats they face. But beneath their tough exterior, there's more. The Deathworlder feels the weight of their existence. They know that survival is never guaranteed, and every day is a battle not just with the environment, but with themselves. They are not invincible. They experience pain, fear, and loss. But it is these very emotions that drive them. In a world where everything is trying to kill them, they have one thing that sets them apart: an unyielding will to live. They are more than just a survivor. They are a symbol of strength, determination, and hope in a world that offers nothing but struggle. The first light of dawn breaks across the Deathworld, casting long, jagged shadows over the twisted landscape. The sky above is a swirl of vibrant reds and oranges, a constant reminder of the planet's hostile nature. It's a harsh world, one where the sun's rays burn hot enough to scorch the flesh, and the air is thick with the scent of sulfur and ozone. For most, this would be a nightmare, a place where every step could lead to death. But for the Deathworlder, it's home. They wake with the first tremors of the planet beneath them, a subtle reminder that even the ground is alive with danger. Their eyes snap open, adjusting to the changing light in an instant. They don't need an alarm. Their body is trained to wake when the planet tells them to. Their senses are sharp from the moment they stir, scanning the environment for any signs of danger. The air smells faintly of ozone, signaling a storm is brewing. This is a world where the weather can turn deadly in an instant. The Deathworlder doesn't waste time. They stretch their muscles, a routine as essential as breathing. Every joint cracks, every muscle fibers tightening and releasing, preparing for the day ahead. Their body is a machine, every movement calculated and efficient. There's no room for waste in this world. Time is precious, and survival is an ongoing battle that never ends. They rise from their makeshift bedding crafted from the tough, spiky leaves of local flora and begin their morning ritual. Breakfast on a Deathworld is nothing like it would be on Earth. There are no crops to harvest, no easy supply of food. The Deathworlder is accustomed to scavenging, hunting, and utilizing whatever they can find. They move quickly through the harsh terrain, their keen eyes scanning for movement. The hunt is not a choice, but a necessity. Their stomach growls, but they know there's no time to waste. The food here isn't like anything humans might recognize. It's raw, dangerous, and often requires skill and quick reflexes to capture. The Deathworlder's first meal of the day is a deadly creature that lurks in the underbrush. It's fast, venomous, and capable of tearing through flesh in an instant. But the Deathworlder knows its patterns. They've studied this creature's every move, learned how it behaves, and know how to strike at the right moment. Without hesitation, they spring into action, their movements fluid and precise. The hunt takes only a few moments, and within minutes, the creature is subdued, its energy consumed by the Deathworlder's quick and decisive action. Eating is a ritual of its own. The Deathworlder doesn't savor the food. There's no time for indulgence. They rip into the creature's flesh with mechanical efficiency, drawing out the nutrients that will fuel them for the day. But even as they eat, their eyes remain alert, constantly on the lookout for any signs of danger. This planet is always watching, always waiting to strike. There is no such thing as relaxation. Even the act of eating becomes an exercise in awareness. Once the meal is finished, the Deathworlder moves on to their preparations. Survival is never as simple as just getting food. The world is full of threats, and they need to be ready for anything. They double-check their equipment, a simple but effective set of tools designed for combat, survival, and self-defense. Their weapon of choice is a sharp, jagged blade, crafted from the bones of a long-dead predator. The blade is an extension of themselves, shoned and ready for use. They also carry a series of small devices, trackers, detonators, and a compact shield generator that can protect them from a sudden onslaught. In a world like this, every detail matters. The Deathworlder checks the sky, noticing the telltale signs of a storm gathering in the distance. They know the weather here is unpredictable, and storms can change the landscape in an instant. Lightning strikes that could turn the ground to glass, winds strong enough to tear trees from the roots. But the Deathworlder is not afraid. They have weathered countless storms. They know how to navigate this chaotic world, and they've learned how to use the storm to their advantage. Before heading out, they make sure to secure their shelter. Their home is nothing like the cozy dwellings of Earth. It's a temporary refugee, something that can be packed up quickly if the world shifts and the ground becomes too unstable. The Deathworlder is constantly ready to leave, knowing that staying in one place for too long could be a death sentence. As they leave their shelter, they pause for a moment. There's a deep silence that falls over the land before the storm. The wind stirs, and the Deathworlder feels the anticipation in the air. The storm is coming, but they are ready. This is just another part of the day, the calm before the chaos. And for the Deathworlder, it's nothing more than another challenge to face. With a final glance at the horizon, they begin their journey, stepping into the heart of the Deathworld with a calm determination that comes only from knowing one thing: survival is never guaranteed, but it's something worth fighting for. Life on the Deathworld is a constant struggle, and survival demands more than just basic instincts. Over time, the Deathworlder has adapted in ways that make them uniquely equipped to face the ever-present dangers of this hostile environment. These adaptations aren't just physical. They're mental, emotional, and instinctual. Every action, every decision is guided by the need to survive and to thrive in a world where death is a constant companion. The Deathworlder's body is a testament to the extreme conditions they've learned to endure. In a place where the atmosphere is toxic, the ground is unstable, and the wildlife is lethal, the Deathworlder's physiology has evolved in ways that make them nearly indestructible to the dangers most would find overwhelming. Their skin has thickened over time, growing more resilient against the harsh UV radiation that beats down from the sun. What was once a soft human exterior is now reinforced with layers of a tough, durable membrane, capable of deflecting small projectiles and resisting burns from the ever-present heat. It isn't just for defense. This skin also acts as a filter, helping to process the harmful gases that fill the air, allowing the Deathworlder to breathe in an atmosphere that would suffocate a normal human in seconds. Their eyes have adapted to the chaotic environment as well, where once they might have struggled to adjust to the shifting light and darkness. The Deathworlder's vision has evolved to see clearly even in the low-light conditions of the planet's frequent storms or the almost perpetual twilight of its landscape. The eyes can focus on even the smallest movements, detecting minute shifts in the environment, whether it's the telltale sign of a predator approaching or the subtle vibrations of the ground that signal an impending quake. These adaptations are no longer a luxury. They are survival mechanisms. The Deathworlder sees the world differently from the way others might. Their vision doesn't just function, it feeds into their survival instincts. Their enhanced sense of hearing is another crucial adaptation. Where most would be deafened by the constant roar of storms or the trembling of the ground, the Deathworlder hears every minute detail, every tremor, every footstep of a predator, or the shifting of a dangerous plant. This heightened hearing allows them to detect threats that would be invisible to most, an advantage in a world where silence can be the most dangerous sound. But perhaps the most important adaptation is the Deathworlder's ability to endure physical pain. The rigors of this environment would cripple most others. However, the Deathworlder has learned not to fear pain, not to flinch when faced with injury or hardship. Their body has developed a kind of resistance, an ability to heal quickly and continue moving despite wounds that would cripple a normal human. Scrapes and bruises, deep cuts, burns, and even fractures, nothing slows them down. Pain, once a source of fear, is now a tool, a reminder that they are alive and that they can keep moving. Survival on the Deathworld requires more than just a tough body. It demands a sharp mind and a will of iron. The Deathworlder's mind has been honed to perfection by years of navigating this perilous terrain. They no longer make decisions based on emotion. Every choice they make is calculated, a result of deep consideration, instinct, and experience. The Deathworlder has learned to trust their intuition over time, recognizing patterns in the world around them. They know when to fight, when to flee, and when to hide. These decisions aren't random. They are the result of thousands of tiny signals gathered over years of observation. Their emotional state is similarly fine-tuned. The Deathworlder's connection to fear is different from what others might experience. Fear, while it's still present, no longer controls them. Instead, It serves as a signal, a warning that they should be on high alert. Over time, they've learned to compartmentalize emotions, to focus entirely on the task at hand. When a storm begins to rage, when a dangerous predator appears on the horizon, the Deathworlder's mind doesn't cloud with panic. They remain focused, calm, and in control. Their emotions have been tempered by the world around them, their survival instincts finely attuned to the rhythms of the Deathworld. They don't fight or flee out of fear. They do so out of necessity. Every fight is a calculated risk, every escape a deliberate action designed to ensure they live to fight another day. One of the most critical emotional adaptations is the Deathworlder's ability to handle isolation. In a world like this, companionship is a luxury few can afford. Trust is hard-earned and easily lost. Yet the Deathworlder has learned to exist without the comfort of others. They don't need companionship to survive. They've built their life around self-reliance. Their emotional strength comes from the deep well of solitude, from knowing that they are enough to face what this world throws at them. The silence of the Deathworld is their constant companion, and they have learned to find comfort in it. The Deathworlder's instincts are perhaps their greatest strength. Every action they take is driven by a deep, primal understanding of the world. They are not just reacting to their environment, they are anticipating it, reading the signs before danger arrives. In a world where threats can emerge at any moment, the Deathworlder has learned to listen to the smallest cues. The rustle of a leaf in the wind, the shift in the air pressure, the change in the temperature, these are all signs that their body recognizes. Their heightened senses allow them to make decisions almost instinctively, giving them a critical edge over the predators and hazards that surround them. The Deathworlder's survival methods go beyond physical adaptations and mental acuity. They've learned to manipulate their environment. They know how to set traps, camouflage themselves, and use the terrain to their advantage. Every weapon, every tool, every piece of equipment they carry has been carefully chosen and adapted for this world. They have built their life around survival, using everything they've learned to make the hostile environment work for them rather than against them. In the end, the Deathworlder is not just a product of the Deathworld, they are its master. Through unyielding adaptation, they've become a part of this brutal environment. Every scar, every learned behavior, every instinct honed to perfection is a testament to their ability to not just survive, but to thrive. The Deathworlder is a creature shaped by their world, and in turn, they shape the world around them. The Deathworlder's life has been built on surviving the known dangers of their environment. The unpredictable storms, the treacherous terrain, the deadly creatures lurking in the shadows. For years, they have adapted, becoming more efficient, more attuned to the world around them. But even the most hardened survivor is not immune to the unexpected. In this act, the Deathworlder will face something they cannot predict, something they cannot prepare for, a challenge that will test the limits of everything they have learned. This is the moment when survival will demand more than mere adaptation. It will require reinvention. The day begins like any other. The Deathworlder awakens to the oppressive heat and the shrieking wind of the barren landscape, a world where every element is a threat. Their instincts take over as they stretch their body, assessing the world around them. The familiar hum of the environment fills their senses, the subtle vibrations of the ground beneath their feet, the distant howls of creatures that claim the land as their own, the weight of the air that presses down on their chest. They scan the horizon with a practiced eye, but today, something feels different. There's an unsettling stillness in the air, a quiet that isn't normal for this chaotic world. For a moment, they hesitate, sensing the possibility of danger, but their rational mind dismisses it. After all, the Deathworlder knows this place better than anyone else. They have faced every storm, every threat, and survived countless near-death experiences. They continue their routine, sharpening their tools, gathering supplies, and preparing to move through the hostile landscape. But deep down, they can't shake the nagging feeling that something is coming, something that even they may not be able to handle. As the day progresses, the Deathworlder ventures farther from their safe zone, searching for food and water-vital resources that are always in short supply. The familiar landscape stretches before them, a desolate expanse of jagged rocks and sparse vegetation. The Deathworlder's mind is sharp, their every step calculated, each motion made with the precision born from years of experience. Suddenly, a tremor shakes the ground. It's not the typical rumble of an approaching storm or the shifting of tectonic plates they've learned to predict. This feels different, more intense, more chaotic. The Deathworlder's instincts flare up immediately, their body going on high alert. They pause, scanning the environment, trying to identify the source of the disturbance. There's no warning, no sign of danger, just the strange, unnatural shift in the ground beneath them. Then, without warning, the world starts to change. The sky darkens unnaturally, the once predictable wind suddenly whipping into a violent gale. The Deathworlder recognizes this. It's not a storm they've seen before. It's a phenomenon they've never encountered in their lifetime, a seismic shift in the environment. The wind howls with a terrifying intensity, carrying with it dust and debris that obscure their vision. The temperature drops sharply and then rises again, creating a disorienting wave of heat that stings their skin. The air itself seems to throb, almost alive with a strange energy. The Deathworlder's first instinct is to seek shelter, but there's no safe place nearby. The landscape is suddenly alien, its usual patterns distorted. A strange sound, something between a roar and a low rumble, reaches their ears, growing louder with every passing second. They know this noise. It's the sound of the planet itself reacting, the rumblings of a catastrophic event that has never been experienced before. The Deathworlder feels the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them. The Deathworlder braces for the worst. They instinctively begin moving towards higher ground, searching for a vantage point, a place where they can get a better understanding of the situation. But even as they climb, the world continues to shake, the very earth beneath them trembling as if it might swallow them whole. The air is thick with dust, reducing visibility to near zero. They can hear the thunderous roar of what sounds like massive forces colliding, but they can't see what's happening. It's then that the Deathworlder catches the faintest movement at the edge of their vision. Something large, something alive is coming towards them, moving with unnatural speed. The Deathworlder's instincts kick in, but there's no way to predict what this new threat is. They prepare to defend themselves, their body tensing as they wait for the creature or whatever it is to reveal itself. The earth shakes again, and in that instant, the Deathworlder sees it. A massive, grotesque figure emerging from the shifting landscape. The creature's form is unlike anything they've encountered before, its body shifting and warping as it moves through the chaos. For the first time in their life, the Deathworlder is uncertain. The world they've known, the world they've fought to survive in, is no longer a constant. It's a place of unpredictable dangers, and now, they are facing something that can't be understood or anticipated. This is no ordinary threat, it is a force of nature, something beyond their experience. The Deathworlder's mind races as they struggle to comprehend what they're seeing. This isn't just a creature or a storm. This is something entirely new. The Deathworlder takes a deep breath, focusing all their energy on surviving this encounter. They know that every decision could be their last. That hesitation could be fatal. The creature moves closer, its massive form crashing through the terrain with terrifying ease. The Deathworlder reaches for their weapon, a tool crafted over years of experience. But they know that it may not be enough to face something of this magnitude. A sudden realization dawns on them. Survival now requires something different. It's not just about using strength or skill, it's about adaptation, thinking faster than the threat, reacting in ways that haven't been needed before. The Deathworlder's survival instincts come into play as they move swiftly, dodging and weaving through the shifting environment. They use the terrain to their advantage, climbing rocky outcroppings and disappearing into the swirling dust, knowing that they can't confront this threat head-on. The battle is no longer just physical. It's a fight of wits, a test of how well they can adapt to the unknown. As the creature draws closer, the Deathworlder makes a split-second decision. They change direction, heading into a narrow canyon where the terrain will restrict the creature's movement. This moment of insight gives them an edge, a brief opportunity to escape the immediate danger. But the creature is relentless, its pursuit unyielding. The Deathworlder knows they cannot outrun it forever. As the creature approaches, the Deathworlder is faced with a moment of choice: stand and fight or flee. For the first time, they recognize that there may be no winning this battle, not in the way they fought battles before. They must think differently. They can't fight the creature on its terms. They need to turn the environment into their ally. Using their knowledge of the terrain, the Deathworlder leads the creature into a massive chasm where the landscape itself will trap it. The ground shakes again, this time in their favor, as the unstable terrain begins to collapse beneath the creature's weight. The Deathworlder's quick thinking pays off as they trigger a chain reaction, causing rocks and debris to fall, blocking the creature's path and forcing it into a crevice. It's a hard-earned victory, but it's not without cost. The Deathworlder is exhausted, their body bruised and battered from the encounter. But they know that this battle, this unforeseen threat, has shown them something critical. Survival on the Deathworld doesn't just depend on what you know, it depends on your ability to adapt, to think beyond what's familiar, and to face the unknown with the same resolve that has carried them this far. The Deathworlder takes a moment to breathe, surveying the landscape. The planet may be unpredictable, but it is still their home. And they will continue to survive, no matter what new challenges it throws their way. The Deathworlder has faced the unimaginable, survived the unforeseen, and fought against a force that no one, perhaps not even they, could have anticipated. Now, in the aftermath of the battle, they find themselves at a crossroads, torn between the crushing weight of their struggles and a flickering glimmer of hope. This act explores the tension between survival and the possibility of something great. Terra World, not just of death and danger, but of potential growth and rebirth. In the quiet that follows the storm, the Deathworlder stands amidst the wreckage of the battle, their bodies sore and covered in cuts, bruises, and the remnants of their struggle. The creature is gone, trapped and rendered powerless by the shifting terrain. The landscape, now scarred by the battle, still hums with the energy of the planet, but there is a certain stillness in the air, a strange calm that hints at something new. The Deathworlder takes a moment to catch their breath, their chest heaving as they assess the damage. Their thoughts are mixed, a strange cocktail of relief and uncertainty. They've survived another day, but what now? The environment continues to shift around them, the dangers ever present, but the battle has made one thing clear: survival alone is no longer enough. They've learned how to endure, to fight, and to adapt. But now they must confront a larger question: what is there to live for? In a world where death seems to be the only certainty, can hope truly exist? The Deathworlder looks out at the horizon, their eyes narrowing as they take in the desolate yet strangely beautiful landscape. The planet, for all its danger, holds an undeniable allure. The sky, though constantly shifting between violent storms and eerie calm, is an ever-present reminder of the power that governs this world. The landscape, though harsh, holds untapped potential. It is a place of survival, yes, but also a place of endless possibility. For the first time, the Deathworlder begins to see this world not just as a battleground, but as a living Antichia world with its own rhythms, its own cycles of life and death. It is harsh and unforgiving, but it is also resilient, and there is something deeply humbling about that. In their years of survival, they've learned to fight, to outlast, and to adapt, but now they realize that survival is not the only thing that matters. There is something deeper, something worth fighting for beyond just the next breath. This new understanding stirs something in the Deathworld, a flicker of hope. It is faint at first, a tiny spark in the darkness, but it is there. They feel it in the way the air smells after the storm has passed, in the way the earth seems to pulse with the possibility of new growth. Hope, fragile as it may be, is beginning to take root. Despite the overwhelming sense of uncertainty, the Deathworlder begins to move forward. They gather their remaining supplies, their worn equipment, and begin to make their way through the landscape once more. Their steps are slower, more deliberate, as they try to make sense of the path ahead. They know that survival is still the primary goal, but the notion of something more of a future beyond the fight for existence lingers in their mind. As they move through the barren wasteland, they encounter signs of life. It is small cacti with resilient flowers clinging to life, insects buzzing among the debris boat. It is life. For the first time, the Deathworlder sees the planet not just as a battleground, but as a place capable of regrowth, capable of sustaining life in ways they had never imagined. There is a certain beauty in these small moments, in the persistence of life even in the harshest environments. The Deathworlder recalls the teachings of their ancestors, the ones who had come before them, who had learned to live in harmony with the world. They remember stories of communities that had formed, of ways in which people had banded together to create a future, not just a series of battles to survive. These memories, long buried under the weight of constant survival, begin to surface. They realize that there is more to existence than just enduring. There is a way forward, a way to build a life that is not defined solely by the fear of death. The Deathworlder's mind races with possibilities, their heart beating a little faster as they consider the potential of this new path. It will not be easy. Survival will always be a challenge on this unforgiving world, but for the first time, they feel a spark of something beyond mere survival, the possibility of a future. A future in which they do not only fight to stay alive, but build something meaningful from the ruins of the past. Their thoughts turn to the people they've known, the survivors they've encountered over the years. They've often been lone wanderers, isolated from each other, each individual focused solely on their own survival. But perhaps, just perhaps, it is time to reach out, to build something larger than themselves. The Deathworlder's mind flashes to a vision, a community, a network of survivors, working together to make the harsh world a little less brutal. It's a long shot, but it's possible. And for the first time, they believe it. The Deathworlder begins to make a plan. It is a vague plan, one that will need to be shaped and molded over time, but it is a start. They know it won't be easy. The world is still a dangerous place, and they are not alone in their struggle. But the Deathworlder has learned something important. They are not just surviving, they are capable of rebuilding, of creating, and of finding hope even in the most unlikely of places. As the Deathworlder climbs higher into the mountains, away from the wreckage of the battle and the scars of their past struggles, they take in the breathtaking view. The storm clouds are slowly parting, and for the first time in a long while, the sky is clear, revealing a stunning vista of untamed wilderness. It is both intimidating and beautiful. The Deathworlder knows that the road ahead will not be easy. There will be obstacles, setbacks, and dangers that they cannot predict. But for the first time, they are not afraid. They are no longer just fighting to survive. They are fighting for something more. In this moment of clarity, the Deathworlder feels the weight of their past battles, every fight, every loss, every hardship, and they see them for what they truly are. The foundation upon which a new future can be built. It is not just about surviving the Deathworld. It is about finding a way to live in it, to thrive in it, to find hope even in the most desolate corners. And so, with the rising sun casting a warm glow over the land, the Deathworlder steps forward. The path ahead is uncertain, but they are no longer walking alone. For in the heart of this brutal world, there is hope, and with it, the possibility of something greater. The Deathworlder's journey has been one of relentless struggle and survival, a battle not only against the hostile environment but against the very notion that existence here is nothing more than a series of endless, brutal conflicts. Through pain, loss, and unthinkable odds, they have learned what it means to adapt, to fight, and most importantly, to hold onto a flicker of hope, even in the darkest moments. But the story doesn't end with mere survival. As the Deathworlder gazes toward the horizon, they see the potential of something greater, something beyond the fight for survival. It is the realization that, even in the harshest conditions, life has a way of finding its place. It is about learning to live with the world, not just in opposition to it. The Deathworlder has learned that survival alone is not enough. Hope, resilience, and the will to create something beyond the struggle are what truly define their existence now. The Deathworlder's journey is a testament to the power of adaptability and the strength of the human spirit. In a world where death is an ever-present force, they have discovered that life is more than just enduring. It is about embracing the possibilities that come with each new challenge. The Deathworlder is no longer just fighting for themselves, they are fighting for a future in which the world is not just a place of destruction, but one where new beginnings can take root. And so, as the Deathworlder moves forward, they are not just a survivor, they are a symbol of hope, a beacon in a world that has long been defined by its violence and uncertainty. Their journey is a reminder that, even in the most unlikely places, survival is just the beginning of something far greater. As we wrap up the Deathworlder's extraordinary journey, we invite you to reflect on the true essence of survival and hope. How do you face the challenges in your own life? What would you do when faced with overwhelming odds? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you would navigate the hostile terrains of your own Deathworld. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like and share it with others who could use a reminder of the strength and resilience that we all carry inside. Subscribe for more thrilling, thought-provoking stories and adventures from distant worlds. And always remember, sometimes, the greatest battles are not the ones we fight, but the ones we win by simply refusing to give up.